You're doing the sculpt classes, Pilates, barre, the fitness classes, everything that promises that you're going to get toned. You're showing up consistently, and yet your body looks the same. Here's something the fitness industry doesn't want to say out loud, and I want you to listen closely. There's no such thing as a toning workout or a diet that tones. In fact, toning is not even a real physiological process. The entire category of toning was developed to sell you equipment and classes and products that will never actually give you the toned look that you're going for. In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you what toning actually means scientifically, why your current approach is not giving you the look that you're going for, and the two-phase strategy that actually produces visible toning and definition. If you've been working out, hitting your protein, eating healthy-ish, and doing all the things that you think you should be doing to create a toned body, but yet you still look the same even after years of trying these tactics and methods, I feel you. Because that used to be me too. Hi, I'm Perry, a weight loss and body transformation coach and trainer with 10 years experience, and I've helped hundreds of women build a lighter, leaner, tighter, more toned physique, even if they've been trying for years to get that on their own. Today, we're gonna cover what toning is, why the most popular diets and workouts never actually create that tone-defined look that most women are after, and most importantly, what to do instead. Okay, I need to squash some things about toning, and I want you to listen very carefully. There is no such thing as a toning workout or a toning diet or a toning rep range or any kind of equipment that's going to actually get you toned. Toning is not a biological process. What people actually mean when they say they want a more toned look is they want more toning and definition in their arms, their legs, and in their midsection. They want a tighter, leaner, more firm physique. They want less soft, jiggly tissue, less cellulite, and they want a physique that actually looks like they work out. But here's what getting toned actually requires physiologically. First, you have to have enough muscle underneath to actually expose shape and definition. Second, you have to have low enough body fat to actually expose the muscle underneath for that toned look. That's it. It's just those two things. Building muscle underneath, shedding body fat on top. And the result is an exposed muscle that creates that toning and defined look that you're going for. Everything else is just marketing. Now, the reason that you probably don't look toned is not that you're doing the wrong toning exercises. It's more likely that you haven't built enough substantial muscle underneath first, and you're probably not shedding enough body fat on top to actually expose it. Now that we know what being toned actually is, let's talk about why the most popular workouts that most women do don't actually create the toned and defined look that they're after. Part 2, why your current workouts aren't working. Here's the reason why the most common toning workouts don't actually create that toned look that most women are going for. Pilates, barre, bootcamps, fitness classes, crunches. These types of exercises create muscular endurance, yes, but they don't actually create the muscle tension you need to build adequate muscle. Light resistance paired with high reps, aka most fitness classes, doesn't actually create muscular hypertrophy, which is where the muscle tears and then regrows to actually build. And while these exercises and fitness classes can be great for improving posture and flexibility and body awareness and even muscular endurance, they don't actually create visible muscle where you can actually see it because it's not enough of a load or a hypertrophy format to build muscle that you can actually see. As for other exercises like cardio and cardio-based fitness classes, think HIIT, dance, running, etc. Those are all great for cardiovascular health, and they're really amazing for a cardio burn in the moment, but they do not build muscle. It's just not the focus, and it doesn't lead to actual muscle growth. In fact, too much cardio can actually lead to the muscle breaking down, which is exactly what we do not want. It can lead to poor recovery, low energy, hormonal imbalances, not to mention just feeling exhausted and left with a body that doesn't actually look toned. And without enough muscle underneath, again, no amount of body fat loss is ever going to create that tone-defined look that you're going for. Now, you might be thinking, Well, Perry, there's this one class I go to where we lift heavy weights, and I've been going to the gym and I've been picking up heavier weights and I strength train and I'm implementing progressive overload. But if you're not training properly in a specific format and structure, no amount of lifting heavy is ever going to help you either. And here's why. When you lift weights inconsistently and or when you're not following a specific training program and or when you don't have proper form, tempo, intensity, and mind to muscle connection, you may not be building the muscle that you think you're building. In reality, your muscles only grow when they're progressively challenged beyond what your muscle has already adapted to in the weeks prior. Lastly, if you're not tracking your weight, your reps, and actually increasing that progressive load week after week, you're never actually tearing the muscle and rebuilding it in the way that you think you are. If anything, you might be maintaining your muscle, which again, it's not a bad thing, but if you're looking to create more toning and definition overall, we need to be growing the muscle. At the end of the day, working out hard is not the same as working out smart. You can sweat through fitness classes all week and be working out 5 to 6 days a week, but unless you're properly building muscle with appropriate structure and strategy, you're probably just burning calories. And this comes from someone who took and taught fitness classes for 8 years. Spoiler alert, it never actually toned my body the way that I wanted it to. I was also the person running half marathons, multiple half marathons to try to tone my body, and no amount of fitness classes or running ever did that for me. I had a client who was working out 5 days a week doing heavy strength training before she came in to work with me. She was strength training, eating healthy, working out, and she still wasn't able to create that toned, tight, and defined physique she was going for. But after working with me for 4 months, where we put her on a specific training program with proper nutrition, she was able to lose 20 pounds and finally get the toning and definition that she was looking for. And in fact, her friends were even commenting on how much tighter and leaner her body looked. She had made more progress with me in 6 months than what she was able to achieve on her own in 3 years. So if these calming workouts aren't actually going to build you the toned and defined look that you're going for, what actually does? I'm going to go through that next and cover it in 3 parts. If you're realizing your current approach is not working and you want to build a lighter, tighter, more toned physique, hit subscribe. I post videos weekly that walk you through how to grow muscle and shed body fat so you can create the body of your dreams. Let's keep going. The 2-part strategy that actually produces a toned body. Since toning and defining requires 2 separate strategies, I'm going to walk you through how to do both and in the right order so you can get that toned, defined physique you're going for. Phase 1, we have to build the muscle first. And this has to come first because no amount of workouts and exercises and body fat loss will work unless you have actual muscle underneath to expose when body fat percentage comes down. So if you have low muscle mass and or you've never spent adequate amount of time training properly, it doesn't matter how much body fat percentage you have, you'll never actually look toned if you don't create that foundation underneath first. Here's what it takes to build adequate muscle in this phase. Progressive overload strength training 3 to 4 days a week where you actually track every single weight, every single rep, and you keep progressing every single week to beat what you did the week prior. You also need proper exercises that are going to help build the muscle. Think traditional compound lifts like bench press, hip thrusts, squats, presses, rows. Those are going to be the exercises that are going to give you the biggest bang for your buck. Next, you have to be eating properly to support muscle growth. We're talking macronutrients, micronutrients, proper calories, proper food groups. And this is where a lot of women go wrong because you cannot build adequate muscle while living in diet mode or in a calorie deficit. It just doesn't work. Last, cardio should be kept to a minimum. And this is why fitness classes can go wrong because as you know, a lot of them are filled with cardio circuits mixed with strength. And while the intention is there, you're burning calories, yes, too much cardio paired with strength training actually makes you break down the muscle, which is not what you want. Here's what you can expect in this phase. 1, the scale may stay the same, it may go down, or it may actually increase by 5, sometimes up to 10 pounds over the course of a few months. I tell clients this all the time. Muscle ain't free. It weighs something. So while we're building muscle, the scale could trickle up. But if you have a little bit of body fat on you, you might actually notice you're starting to lose weight and your body might actually tighten up because when you build muscle, your metabolism increases, you burn more calories, which could result in a tighter, leaner figure, even if the scale hasn't moved at all. On the contrary, again, the scale could go up a few pounds, especially if you're on the leaner to average size. We actually might want the scale to increase by 5 pounds over the course of 4 months, for instance, as you build muscle. You'll also notice that you're getting stronger and you'll be able to lift heavier and heavier weights every single week. That's a good thing. Lastly, and this one's important, your clothes might fit differently. And I've seen this go one of 2 ways depending on your body type. Number 1, you might have to actually go up in size. If you're average to leaner size and we're trying to build muscle on your legs or glutes, you might notice your pants are actually fitting tighter. But this is a good thing because muscle takes up less space than body fat, yes, but if you're on the leaner side, we want to actually build the legs a little bit and build the glutes a little bit. So you might actually have to go up half a pant size or maybe even a pant size to build the muscle before we shed the fat. On the contrary, if you're on the average to above average size, you might actually notice you're decreasing your pant size and your pants and your clothes feel looser. This could be because you're burning more calories and you're creating muscle, which takes up less space than body fat. So your clothes could end up feeling looser. No matter which person you are, you have to take note of your body shape and your overall goals and assess unbiasedly what is okay here for building muscle. I know building muscle first before you shed body fat may sound counterintuitive, especially if you just want to be toned and leaner. I get it. You want to be tighter, but we have to spend adequate time building muscle first to create that foundation for more toning and definition later on. This is how we're going to help you actually look toned, even if you've been eating healthy and working out for years. Phase 2 is to reduce the body fat on top so we can expose everything that you've built underneath. Once you've spent time building adequate muscle, then it's time to move in a strategic fat loss phase where you can actually expose it all. And this is the fun part because you actually get to see more of the fruits of your labor. Here's what that phase looks like. 1, a moderate calorie deficit, not a crash diet, and we're not eliminating food groups. 2, protein stays high and we do not cut out carbs. This is to help us preserve the muscle that we've built and keep your energy high for training. Which leads me to number 3. We want to keep strength training because we want to tell the body, keep the muscle, take the body fat. And by continuing to strength train, we can continue to maintain the muscle mass we've built and continue to grow it further. Yes, even while in a calorie deficit. We also want to integrate cardio and increase steps to help to accelerate fat loss. And any extra activity you have from NEAT, non-exercise activity thermogenesis, you can think of that like extra credit. Doing the laundry, going for a hike, walking the dog, it all helps in a fat loss phase. The result of doing both of these things in this specific order is visible muscle definition and toning in your arms, legs, and in your stomach, a tighter, firmer, more sculpted appearance, a body that actually looks like you work out, and results that stick around because muscle is really that foundation to a higher metabolism and to sustainable fat loss. Because we don't want to just lose weight. We don't want to just tone. We want to be able to keep our results long term as we live our daily life. This is what changing body composition actually is. It's building lean muscle mass first, then shedding body fat on top to create more visible toning and definition in the physique that you want. We need both things in this specific order to be able to create the body of your dreams. My client Leah came to me wanting to look toned. And after years of eating healthy and taking fitness classes, and she was actually a fitness instructor herself, she could never create the toned body she really wanted. And so she started working with me. We flipped her strategy completely upside down. And at the end of it, she ended up losing 16 pounds and creating visible toning and definition underneath, We could see it in her abs. We could see more shape in her legs. And she finally had the toned arms that she's wanted for her entire life. Same person, but a completely different strategy gave us a completely different result. Here's one thing you can do this week. Stop asking what workout burns the most calories and instead start thinking about what workout is going to actually build muscle, because we want to focus on what we're building, not what we're burning. Here's what I recommend that you can do starting today. Replace one cardio session or replace one fitness class with a heavy strength training workout. Choose compound exercises like hip thrusts, squats, barbell press, bench press, rows, and record your weight and reps for each. Have proper form, tempo, and intensity, and then the following week, revisit those same exercises, but beat your score. So increase your weight, increase your rep, or increase both. Again, having proper form, tempo, intensity, and mind to muscle connection. This is the real foundation for building actual muscle, especially before you decrease the body fat on top. And those two things together are what's going to help you create that tone-defined body that you're after. Remember, toning is not a workout. It's not a rep range. It's not one exercise. It's not a fitness class. And it's not something that you're going to get from one piece of equipment or a bazillion crunches. It's a combination of enough muscle underneath paired with lower body fat to be able to expose visible toning and definition. 2 goals, 2 phases in a specific order to create the end result that you're looking for. More toning, more definition, a tighter body, more sculpted abs, and more contour to your legs and your arms. Now that you know what's actually required to create toning and build muscle, the next thing we have to be conscious of is that we're not losing muscle when we go into fat loss mode, because that will completely undo everything that we just talked about. The good news is I made you a video that points out the 5 warning signs that you're losing muscle instead of body fat and what to do about it. Click here to watch it next, and I'll see you there.